We're going to get rolling in just a second. I am Katie Long, and I am with the Splinter Group Spirits. And today we're going to be talking about Manhattans and all kinds of other fun things. So make sure that you have something fun to sip on. Hello from Vermont. Sweet. Good to see you, Tony. Oh, and from India. Awesome. What time zone are you in? So here on the West Coast, which is where I'm coming from, we are enjoying sunny, beautiful weather. It's 1 p.m. and this is a true two Manhattan lunch, I should say. Let's see here. We're going to see if we can get Marissa in just 1 second. So hang on, everybody. As we get going, as a reminder, this is awesome.
Hey! It's so nice to meet you.
Hi, Marissa. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. Awesome. We've got some folks coming from India. We've got the Big Apple represented. We're just checking to see.
Phone problems. My boss is here with me today.
Safe social distancing, I hope.
Social distancing, yes. I just needed to use her phone, but yeah. Yes. Thank you for having us.
So, as we are going to get started, today we are celebrating 2 Martini lunch, and it's a bit of a play on words. Of course, today I am not having a martini. I'm going to be in Manhattan. And
awesome.
More importantly, I think you have something fun that you're going to share with us.
I do.
Everybody who is just joining us, again, thank you. 2 Martini lunch with Splinter Group Spirits. I've got my goodies right up here. And awesome. You've got yours right behind you. So today we're going to be tasting some cocktails, one that you concocted. You want to tell us a little bit about maybe who you are and how you got to know Splinter Group Spirits?
Yep. So my name is Marissa. I live in Connecticut. I work for a distributor called Eater Brothers. We're in the southern half of the state of Connecticut. I've been with them for almost 3 years, and we have a lovely supplier, Rob Williams, that works for you guys. And he sells all these great products, and I love working with them. They're one of my favorite things to put in cocktails. So that's really like a short little version of it.
Boom. That's how we are here today. So was it hard to say yes to joining in for drinking on the job?
No. Never. That's never hard.
Whew, now that we got that out of the way.
I already have one made, but I'll make another one with you guys.
Beautiful. So for everybody who is joining, this is our inaugural for Splinter Group Spirits 2 Martini lunch. If you have questions about where you can find our spirits, feel free to check out our bio or our website, thesplintergroupspirits.com, where we can hopefully help you find the spirits in your area. And Marissa, why don't you just dive on in?
All right.
What is the name of this cocktail today?
Okay, so it is called the Midnight Singer. It is from a cocktail bar, Attaboy in the city on the Lower East Side, and it's one of my, I'll sit down while I do this. It's one of my favorite cocktail bars in the city. They're really cute and charming. It's more of a speakeasy. The owner of the bar used to work for a cocktail bar, Milk and Honey. His name is Sam Ross, and Milk and Honey no longer exists, but they opened up Attaboy, and now he owns it. And basically his whole thing is that he takes traditional cocktails and puts a twist on it. So this one is like his twist of a whiskey sour, kind of. And I love it. When you go into this cocktail bar, they don't have a menu. They basically ask you, the bartender will say, what do you like? Give me like a little bit of an idea of what you like. So the first time I went, I told them, I love whiskey, I love bourbon, and I love Fernet. And they were like, perfect, we got a drink for you. And that's what I'm going to make for you.
That's a good bartender when they're like, yes.
They just know exactly what to do for you. So this is really easy. I picked out a cocktail that doesn't have that many steps to it, so you can make it at home. I know we're all stuck at home and, wanting to drink. So this is, all right, so we're going to start making it really quick. So you have bourbon. We have straight edge bourbon. We have Fernet, lemon, and then we're going to do some simple syrup. So you're just going to do an ounce of the Fernet and an ounce of the bourbon. You're going to do 3/4 of lemon and 3/4 of simple, and then you're going to shake it, and then you're going to put it over a large cube.
And when you're pouring that, start sipping on mine. I made this a little earlier. I'm having a Manhattan.
Very nice. How's the weather in California?
Oh my goodness. It's phenomenal. So out here in wine country, which is where we actually finish the whiskey, so I'll get to that in a second. It is probably 85, sunny, gorgeous. This feels like summer weather, which is almost a little too tempting to try and get outside. So I thank everybody for being responsible drinkers, as well as safe social distancers. And, we'll get out there someday. But in the meantime, we're going to just be doing a lot of this cocktailing at home. So I see you're mixing good stuff.
Yep, I just mixed it all up. I just have to grab some ice really quickly, and I'm going to shake it up and pour it.
Awesome. And while you're doing that, we are here in wine country, and that's a really important part of our story. So with the Splinter Group Spirits, we buy in some of the best spirits on the negotiant market. We also lay down some of our own made spirits. We do American whiskey, we do rye, and we do a bourbon. So then what we do is we'll take that bourbon that has been aged in place in Kentucky and all those other wonderful spots where we buy from, and then we bring it out to Napa Valley, where it will rest several months up to a year in X wine barrels. So they used to hold red wine most.
Sorry, it's a little loud.
So these wine barrels give it a little something extra. I like to think of it as a halfway to a Manhattan, in that it has cherry notes, it has some of those vinous notes, but it's just really vanilla baking spice fun. So I think they lend themselves to cocktails, which is why I'm really excited to see how yours comes out. And also, I know that you're beautiful. Man, you're making my mouth water. We noticed that you're using a couple ingredients. So for those people who don't know what simple syrup is, I know, just give us a bit of a primer and why you use that perhaps instead of sugar.
So simple syrup, it's easier than using sugar because it's already diluted, it's already mixed in together, so it's not going to make the cocktail grainy. It's really easy to make at home. It's equal parts, so however much sugar you put in, you're going to boil some water as well, and then mix it together until all the sugar is dissolved and let it cool, and you're all set. So it's really, really easy to use. If you don't have those things at home, if you can't use sugar, you want to mix, if you have agave mixed at home, you can just mix it with agave instead.
Nice. And then also,
Oh, there you go. Little finished product.
Awesome. In fact, I have a photograph that you sent me earlier, so let me see if I can get this up. Hang tight so I can get a nice close-up of it. Everybody out there, we hope that you are enjoying something fantastic, delicious. Okay, so there it is. So we've got a garnish of mint and a little bit of lemon there. So I almost thought of this as a bit of like a take on a whiskey sour, but also kind of a take on a mint julep, which is so appropriate this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just super refreshing. And are there any foods that you really dream of when you think about this cocktail?
I mean, I dream about food all the time, no matter what it is. I love to eat. So, but when I'm drinking this, like a really nice savory dessert or meat and cheeses, keep it simple. Let the cocktail really do the work for you.
Awesome. And I see Tony O'Rourke just commented the bourbon with a whisper of spring mountain water. Hopefully that's exactly what you are sipping on this moment, Tony.
Awesome.
Yeah, tag us. I have another question for you. So when we were talking a little bit earlier, you mentioned that this cocktail can kind of span flavors, everything from maybe a charcuterie plate to even a savory dessert. Do you have any in mind that, as we're sitting at home thinking about all the foods, anything that you'd, want to put this with specifically?
Honestly, banana bread or like a bread pudding, any sort of like, there's my video. Any sort of like mascarpone, like esque, dessert goes well with it. I actually did have it the other day. I made some banana bread at home, which I think a lot of us are doing right now when your bananas go bread because we have so much food. I've been making a lot of banana bread at home, and it's been great with that. Some chocolate chips in there, offset the flavor. It's great.
Sweet. So it's almost like a breakfast cocktail as well as a dessert cocktail?
I think you can drink it any single time of the day. The reason why I like it is because when I drink cocktails, I like it to be boozy, but I also want a little sweetness to it. I don't always just do super boozy cocktails for myself, and I think this is the perfect balance of the two things.
You know, that's a nice thought. 2020 was kind of shaping up to be the Sober Curious movement. I wonder if current events are maybe changing that a little bit, but are there any cocktails that you like that maybe are kind of favoring less strong alcohol? She says as she holds up her straight martini.
So Paper Plane is another one that you can do. So Paper Plane is really simple. You can it's going to be bourbon or rye, actually preferred rye, Aperol, lemon, and an Amaro. It's equal parts of all those things, and then you're also going to shake that one up as well and pour it on the rocks.
And speaking of Amaros, so many of us are familiar with Fernet Branca, but why do you like that in this cocktail? And then what do Amaros or bitters kind of bring to the party, in your opinion?
So I like Fernet all around. I can drink it straight too. It's a classic digestivo, and what it brings to the cocktail is really just a slight bitterness, but not too much, and almost like an herbal flavor as well, which pairs really well with the mint.
I find that, you know, many of my favorite cocktails do kind of have that sweetness, that alcohol. It's kind of like with food. We're all just that semblance of balance.
Exactly.
It really plays nicely with that.
Exactly.
If, say, we are stuck at home and we don't have Fernet and we wanted to make your fantastic cocktail, what, if anything, could we try and substitute to try and get kind of close?
Fernet's it kind of stands on its own, but if you have, I guess any other type of Amaro, if you had any other type of Amaro at home, you could, because it's still going to give that bitter flavor. Like I said, Fernet really is its own kind of category, but any Amaro will really give that bitterness that you're looking for to it. Maybe to get more to that minty flavor, if you make your simple syrup and then steep some mint in the simple syrup first, you might get a little bit closer to the flavor.
That's kind of an awesome thought. And we also mentioned, in my house, I've got Campari Aperol, which has been really popular for spring.
Oh, yeah.
You know, maybe they're not quite Midnight Singer-esque, but they're getting into the feel of it. So if they are, experiment and play around. Those are some ideas.
Yeah, and if you have Aperol, something really simple to do at home is an Aperol spritz, club soda, Prosecco, Aperol. It is so delicious and refreshing. And then also, like I said, the Paper Plane is very simple to make at home as well, and kind of balances like this. It's a little boozy and citrusy as well.
So I hear that you guys are getting your favorite polar vortex coming back. So maybe that nice warm weather is going to go away in a minute. Do you have any recommendations for maybe those cooler climate or less springy drinks?
Well, one, I did not know that we were getting the polar vortex back, so that's really depressing. Thank you for bringing that upon my day. No, but
over here and keep drinking.
But honestly, like any warmer or cooler weather drinks, anything that's darker spirit, Manhattan, Old Fashioned, this guy. What else would you say? Anything that's cooler climates.
Fruit.
Yeah. Anything with a darker spirit. Honestly, just pour some of this on the rocks, and then you're good to go.
You know what? Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. So for everybody who's just joining us, I'm Katie Long with Splinter Group Spirits, and I am joined by Marissa Mayo with Peter Brothers based out of Connecticut. And we are talking about cocktails and fun, different ways to enjoy our Splinter Group Spirits. You are working with our straightish bourbon today.
Yes.
I actually mixed in the Slaughterhouse to make my Manhattan, which the video playing behind me is a rudimentary take on me mixing up my cocktail. And something about equipment. You'll notice in my cocktail video, I used a glass pitcher and a stirrer, whereas you chose to shake your cocktail. Do you want to give us any of your thoughts on, when to shake, when not to shake?
So with your drink that you made, you said you made a Manhattan, that's going to be a more booze-forward, spirit-forward cocktail. So that's why you want to stir it, because you don't want to really take away from that. When you shake a cocktail, it's going to definitely add more texture to it and a little bit more of a frothiness. And you want to really shake cocktails when they involve any sort of citrus to it, to really mix everything well together. So for yours, it was perfect. Stir it just to kind of mix everything together really quickly, but you don't want to take too much from it. And when you shake it, kind of doesn't dilute the cocktail, but it definitely mixes everything well together.
Nice. Now, for those unfortunate people who maybe don't have a shaker at home, how would you recommend that they kind of get that effect?
If you don't have a shaker at home, honestly, if you have Tupperware, you can just shake it that way. But if you don't have a shaker and you just take 2 cups and you do this sometimes with each other, that works as well.
So really just the point is to get it thoroughly mixed, nice and chilled. And I will say that I'm not a purist, but I do think that it's, don't be turned off by trying something if you don't have all the ingredients or all the right equipment. So my Manhattan actually is a perfect Manhattan, which is less about my abilities as a cocktail mixologist or specialist, more about the recipe. So I prefer my cocktails a little bit on the drier side. So in this version, I just mix 50-50 dry vermouth and sweet tea. And my vermouth is about 1 part to 2 parts of whiskey. So that's just my personal preference. But anybody who's out there watching, if you have any preferences on how you like your Manhattan, go ahead, drop us a note. Tell us what you think. Up, on the rocks. I know everybody's got some really strong opinions about their cocktails, and we'd love to hear them.
Well, the other thing that I love about cocktails is that really play around with them and have fun. If you just have things at home, if you want to, Google's great. You can just Google what you have, and you'll be able to find a cocktail with things that you have at home. A lot of stuff that you have in your kitchen, too, that you might not know that you can use in a cocktail that you want to get rid of. You can always find something. So just have fun with it and do your own thing, and you might find something that's completely new and create your own cocktail.
Sweet. So Miss AJ Finn there just said it's all about the cherries. So yes. What is your take? Because I've got my feelings on Manhattan cherries.
I do too. I love a good Lazzaroni cherry. It tastes like an amaretto cookie. It is amazing. And like I said, I'm all about the food. So anything that tastes like a cookie and it's not a cookie, you can't go wrong with that.
Somebody said Luxardo. I'm a
Luxardo as well.
Myself.
Yeah.
But I was finding, my husband and I have been doing a lot of research and development lately, and believe me, it has been tough. But we've been finding that with working with the Whipsaw Rye, we don't even need a cherry. It's just, and these are halfway to Manhattan for me. So the cherry is like the icing on the cake. With or without, life is good.
It's delicious. And I even sometimes like taking a little bit of the syrup from the jar and putting it on the spoon. And when I go to stir, it gives it a little extra something as well.
It's nice. Really fun. So, okay, in fact, going back to your cocktail, you said you had this very first time at Attaboy, and you gave a nice little shout out to our friends in New York. Hope everybody is doing really, really well. We cannot wait to come back and visit you all around the country and share a cocktail with you.
Yes.
But I asked you if you could share this cocktail with anybody. You suggested somebody. Tell me about who you suggested and why.
Okay, so I just recently watched The Sopranos for the first time. I've never seen the show, and I'm obsessed with it.
You're admitting it right here.
What?
You're admitting it right here.
I'm admitting it right here that it took me this long to watch the show. Well, to be fair, when the show was on, my parents would have never let me watch it. But, so I'm obsessed with Tony right now, and I would just love to get him drunk and see if I can get him to, spill every single secret that he's ever done. I would just love that.
I would wonder what would be the first secret that would, or how many deep he'd have to get before you can
Sopranos. Tony. The comments are hilarious.
I love Tony so much. It's really quite. I mean, you shouldn't really love him. He's a horrible person, but he's not great. I do love him though.
All right, so we're not sending him out as a role model for our children.
No, he's not a role model. Don't try to be Italian. But maybe for Italians. I don't know.
Oh goodness! So Tony works as Polly Walnuts.
Awesome. Yes, exactly.
I was looking kind of over, and I'm a little torn. Do you think that Tony was more of like a straight up Scotch guy, or more wine? I mean, I know that they enjoyed some of the spoils of their plunder, but
he does always drink the same thing in the show. Why can't I remember? It was always, I think it was Scotch. Like he always poured when he was at the Bada Bing. He would always have somebody pour him a little Scotch. At home, it was wine, but. Unless if I'm wrong, someone tell me if I'm wrong, but
he would drink this now.
Now he's going to drink this. I would turn him on to this though. This would be his new favorite bourbon.
A little cacio e pepe. You're sitting at the edge of the bar, like it's going to be good.
I made that the other night. It's actually in my fridge. I made way too much for one person.
Fantastic leftovers.
Leftovers, exactly.
This is subsistence living. We are not doing too bad for sure, but. So, okay, everybody out there, if you have any fun drinks, any ideas, any questions for Marissa or myself, let us know what's in your glass. If you are so inspired, don't hesitate to please tag us in your pictures so that we can follow what you're doing. And we're just excited to see what everybody's up to out there. We're enjoying beautiful sunny weather in California and pretty decent weather in Connecticut, and looking forward to sharing a drink with some of our good old friends just as soon as we possibly can.
Awesome.
So, Marissa, I do have another question for you from one of our viewers.
Absolutely.
So, we talked a little bit about simple syrup substitutes. You use maple syrup if you don't have agave. Could you use, it'll give a little bit different of a flavor, but...
It definitely would give it a little different of a flavor. To tell you the truth, I have never tried that. But if you were to use it, because maple syrup is pretty sweet, it's actually, if I were to compare the two, simple syrup to maple syrup, it's a lot, it's going to be way more sweet. So use less of it. So in this cocktail, use 3/4 of it. Try maybe just 1/4 ounce and see how it tastes with that.
Awesome, everybody. Thank you very much for your questions and your suite. We've got a shout out to the Empire Merchants, New York City, NYC, should say. So, Marissa, do you have any questions? How are you hanging in there? What's your daily routine looking like?
I'm still working for the most part. It is different with restaurants not really being open, but in Connecticut, May 20th, we're looking like patios can open. But really, I just am at home most of the time, hanging out with my cats and playing Mario Kart with some of my friends every week. We call each other the Mario Kart King. Matt, Jeff, they're great, and then Chris Capizoli as well. And so we're have to shout them out. But that's really what I'm doing, and I'm just taking this time to really enjoy myself at home. Being a rep, we're out a lot. We're supporting our restaurants and never really get the time to just be home. And it's really been a little change of pace, and I'm getting to enjoy it.
Fantastic. Well,
how about you? How are you enjoying yourself?
I am doing phenomenally. I have, just as of today, experimented with my very first sourdough from starter.
Nice.
Experimenting with lots of cocktails. Again, that research and development is so tough. But freezing ice cubes. You and I had a little conversation earlier this week.
Yeah.
Freezing ice cubes has become kind of a thing. It's like I've got to plan around when I can get my perfect ice cubes frozen. So I'm understanding the process of these things a little bit more and having a little bit more patience, both with myself and with the outcome of things that maybe isn't perfect. But it's been a fun journey, that's for sure.
It has been a fun journey. I actually had to buy myself the second large ice cube tray because I keep on going through them too quickly.
Yep. It's a good problem to have, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a good problem.
Awesome. Well, if anybody has any additional questions, feel free to drop us a comment at Splinter Group Spirits. Go to our website. thesplintergroupspirits.com. You can also find out where to buy our spirits in your local area. So, Marissa, this has been such a pleasure to get to know
Thank
you.
you so much.
And I hope to get to see you in real life.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I hope so too.
Awesome. Well, take care. And
thank you. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
We'll see you.
Bye. Bye.